I'm excited to do it again in a couple weeks here for Summer Matt's Erie. We have a lot of talent here today, a lot of really cool teams, a lot of sweet cars, and we're super excited to see them put on a good show for everyone here.
So if you're not familiar, if you're here at the Speedway or joining us on the live stream on the Vibes Facebook page and YouTube, a team exhibition here, we're going to see a display of some really nice builds on some really powerful drift cars. There's some high power, there's some low power, and there's some right down the middle. But we're going to see the display of that, the display of skill, and then the fight for the right of bragging rights. So the exhibition just for fun, but also an opportunity for these guys to showcase what their team can do.
Yeah, absolutely. So like you said, Ben, all right, so as you can see here, we're just getting ready to get the track nice and cleaned off for everyone. So that way, no pebbles in the middle of the track, none of the the access tire, because that could cause a quite a slippery situation that you're unexpected for. So shortly here, we're gonna start bringing out the cars on the track, and just keep an eye out for this driving. I mean, it's gonna be crazy. Pits are full. Hopefully, everyone's staying hydrated. Hopefully, everyone's eating over there at the Rusty Wheel, and we're going to have a good night here.
I'm probably okay. He sounds kind of quiet. I just knew earlier AJ turned it down up here. I'm just going to leave it for now. So right now we have the safety team cleaning up the track a little bit for us. We've been ripping all day yesterday, all the way until 11:30 p.m. last night. Grid's getting hot out there. It was already hot this afternoon as these guys are making this first entry rather quick into that big bank. So lots of rubber buildup down on the track. There's been a lot of bumper-to-bumper action, and wheel to door as we are drifting here this weekend. So there's been some debris on the track. So getting that cleaned up as we're getting ready to stage up some of the first teams to hit the track. We are going to release by row. I believe that we are going to be starting with the Drift HQ team. So real quick before we get going, just want to give a shout out to all of our sponsors. Lake Erie Speedway, driven by Pro Waste, Vibes presented to you by Drift HQ, Grip Royal, Koru Works, Silver Suspension, Enjoy the Machine, DriftPizza.us, Tilted Industries, Upside Works, The Petrol Box, Smile Times Death, and the Steel City Society, throwing an awesome car show right behind the grandstands as we get ready to roll for the exhibition.
Alrighty, first up on track, we got the Drift HQ boys coming all the way from Florida to join us here in Northeast Pennsylvania here at Lake Erie Speedway. Super cool to see these guys out here. They're all absolute rippers. Super cool guys. We all have a chance to go up to their booth over there, talk with them. They're selling parts for various chassis. And it's really cool to have him out here. So thanks for coming out, guys. I know it was one hell of a haul to get here.
As we get ready to roll, Drift HQ rolling out a grid here for their first lap, headed off into turn 1. Right through the middle of the bank, nice and tight. Big smoke, big angle from these guys. Lots of power under the hood of these cars. Down into the tight section of the layout. Good lead here up front. Stacking up strong. Right through the tight section. Trickier than it may look here on the live stream. Lots of smoke from the Drift HQ guys into that big last sweeper, into the tricky tight hairpin that leads you off to the wall. See a nice quick transition here. All 4 of them stacked up right on top of one another. Great first run here from the Drift HQ guys. Everybody put your hands together. Let's bring the Energy Vibes 2023. Let's go.
Alrighty, here they go again. The first lap was sweet. Let's see the second. These guys stack up real well. These cars sound phenomenal. Here they go to the first bank. Real good proximity. Lots of smoke. Man, these cars sound wicked. Holding real good proximity into the tight part here. Slowing it down. Awesome. Really stacking it up there. Here's where it gets real tricky for all of us. And as you can see, you know, it's definitely not an easy corner there. The lead car really has to carry some momentum through there, so that way everyone else kind of slide into that corner and carry through. Wow. Man, those cars sound awesome. Real good lap by the Drift HQ boys.
Yeah, and those guys carry a ton of speed. You saw there coming into the tighter center section of the layout. Carried a lot of speed into transition and got stuck on lock there, heading back into this little power alley on the backside. So really good 2 runs there from the Drift HQ guys, as able to put it down. Now we're going to see the Asphalt Cowboys. That's Nick Aratari in the lead, Tommy Baker in chase. Aratari with the LS swap in the Beamer, laying down the power to the Speedway in the form of tire smoke. Tommy Baker closes right in here. Nick with the nice wide line. Nice fluent transition here. Not an easy section of the track to run, that's for sure. You see Tommy suck right up to the door, last big sweeper. Tommy nice and aggressive in chase here. A little bit too much angle there, gets him stalled up. Nick real wide, big angle, dragging that rear bumper right against that K barrier. Out to the Lake Erie Speedway banner. Solid first run for the Asphalt Cowboys. Nick Aratari in the lead. Tommy Baker and chase. See if they flip-flop here. Lead and chase, or if they keep it the same. Yep,
so it looks like they're going to flip-flop. So now Tommy Baker's going to lead. Nick Aratari in the chase. So, you know, obviously both 2 very different chassis, both 2 very different power plants. I want to say Tommy has a SR20, but not too sure. We know Nick's got the LS under the hood of that BMW there. So super excited to see, you know, the flip-flop, how they can adapt their driving styles now.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Tommy's got that SR20 in there, and he makes that thing work hard, that's for sure. Let's go, boys. Let's turn it up. Let's go, boys. Lake Erie Speedway, are you guys having fun at Vibes 2023? Let's let these guys hear you in grid as the Asphalt Cowboys get ready to take their second lap. Tommy Baker now in the lead, Nick Artari in chase.
So they're holding real good proximity. Lots of tire smoke from both the cars as they come into the second corner here, getting real close. Looks like they both follow a really good line. You can tell they're both very comfortable driving with each other. Looking really good out there in this exhibition here. Here they go. They're going to close it real tight. Ooh. You know, like me and Brent have been saying, that's been a real tough corner for everyone doing tandems. I mean, it just, the speed, you lose so much speed in that corner there, and it's just real hard to recover from that. Looking like they're doing real good in that outer zone there, and then into the, what do you want to call that there at the end there?
I'd call that the Lake Erie Speedway wall drag.
Yeah, the good old wall drag there. Real good lap from those guys. Let's give it up for the Asphalt Cowboys. Let's get a big old yee-haw for the Cowboys.
On the count of three. 1, 2, 3.
Yee-haw. Alrighty, all four of them are off. And these guys have been doing real good all day, so super excited to see what kind of lap they lay down here for their exhibition run. So we've got a Beamer, a Lexus, 350Z, and a 240SX. They're doing really good. Looks like they all know, you know, one thing that's absolutely important when you're driving with your team is to know how everyone drives. It looks like they all definitely are very familiar with each other's driving.
Yeah, Mitchell Pavlo and Luke have been throwing down all weekend, laying the bumpers to the K-rails, and they're doing that just here in the exhibition. As you see right there, heading on to the Lake Erie Speedway backstretch wall drag, right underneath of the noodles. Maybe a little bit of trouble in the back there from the 240SX. He's going to head out, so maybe only finishing the second run for the Smoking Cowboys with 3. So tough luck there. As Dennis getting the boys hyped up for this second run. Let's hear it, Lake Erie Speedway. How's about the Smoking Cowboys putting on a show out here all weekend, getting ready for this second run of the exhibition?
All right, here they go. Excited to see the second run. Cars are looking good into the first corner. Going pretty medium on the bank there, not bad. Coming down into the second corner here. Looks like they're a little off track, but it looks like they will tidy it back up. Perfect. Looking really good there with the proximity. Good angle, good tire smoke.
Stacking them up like dimes, Brian.
Oh, yeah, stacking them real good there. Wow, real close. Very close proximity from the Smoking Cowboys here. And into the last corner, looking really, really good. Let's see where they. Let's see what we got with the wall drag here.
All 3 of them right out to the Lake Erie Speedway banner. 2 absolutely solid runs from the Smoking Cowboys. Everybody put your hands together for Mitchell, Pavlo, and Luke of the Smoking Cowboys.
Hey, they need a radio on grid.
Next, we'll be seeing B-List. B-List been shredding it up. Sorry, Nacho Cheese, quick change here. Nacho Cheese, Matt, Jordan, Timmy, and Taylor heading down into turn number 1. These guys have been ripping it up all weekend, taking a lower line on the banking. That banking will push you right down tight to that inner clip tractor tire. Quick transition. These guys running a little bit different of a line from what we've seen so far. Nice and tight, stacking them up, steady down through the tight section, into the power alley, into the last sweep here. All of them filling that outside zone nicely. Closing in on the proximity here, back into the tight sweeper, right against the K-rail. Oh, a little bit of angle lock and stacks him up on the way out. That's the thing. You know, these guys, the skill level that they have, they make this stuff look easy. Coming off of that last hairpin is not easy because the speedway has progressive banking. So when you come up below that yellow line, there's actually a little bump there. And then same thing down here in the middle. You know, this repave of the infield isn't completely perfect. So it has some differences down there in the middle, but a killer first run for Nacho Cheese.
All right, looks like they're going to send him off again. Here they go. Nacho Cheese put down a great run for their first run. Let's see them all stack it up. Into the first corner, staying consistent. They all have very consistent runs, which is really good to see. Makes it real easy to stack it up, especially when you're driving with your team here. I love the line they're taking. It's making it real easy for them to get real close to each other. I mean, the proximity is great with Nacho Cheese here.
And that's really what it's all about. You know, all these teams are going to drive a little bit different, and you're seeing that here. That's why these guys get this exhibition, to show their own unique driving style. And Nacho Cheese just absolutely stacking it up here in their second run in a smoke show down to the backstretch wall. How's about it, Lake Erie Speedway, Nacho Cheese?
Let's give it up for Nacho Cheese.
Can we get a wave going on the backstretch wall? There's a ton of you over there. All the way down to the white trailer, all the way through the grandstands. We're going to get a wave going?
Yeah, let's get a wave going, guys. Let's go. Who's going to start it off? All right, next up on grid, it looks like we're going to have B-List going. B-List, another team that's been throwing it down all weekend. Me and Ben have gotten the opportunity to run grid a couple times this weekend, and this team does a phenomenal job. So here they go.
Good buddies with these guys. I've run tons of laps with them here at the Speedway. Taking a medium line on the bank. Good power down through the middle here. As these guys mirroring that line, really, really nice. Little bit of separation towards the back of the pack here behind Ryan. Stacked up into the power alley into the last outside zone. Ryan and his 350Z hunting the door of that Corvette into that last hairpin. Little bit of a miscue there from B-List on the way out, but overall, very solid first run for B-List.
Yeah, B-List is a couple good buddies of mine. They're all from the Buffalo area. And, I'm very upset to see that Donovan's not out here with his car. Donovan can really throw down. I mean, all five of these guys that are out here right now, phenomenal drivers. So really, really cool to see them out here. And they're throwing down great laps for everyone.
Dennis getting ready to send B-List off for their second lap. They're going to take the same formation as lap number one into the first zone. A little bit shallower entry there as they wash up the bank. Down into the power alley here, inside clip. A little bit of a heavy angle from the back of the pack here. Gonna put them behind a little bit. Front three stacked up nicely. Through that last outside zone. Smooth and steady out front. Ryan dragging the bumper of that 350Z off the wall. Absolutely sending it out there for all you guys watching. Whether you're driving this weekend or just spectating, how's about it? Put it together for B-List. All right, so up next we got Ghost Riders. This is Kyler of Ghost Riders. Yeah, I know Dan had some trouble with his rear end. Not sure what happened to David Shaner. Freshly built car for him. So Kyler gonna represent Ghost Riders. Kyler been throwing it down all weekend. Big angle from Kyler into the outside zone. Gonna come up a little bit short of the outside. Playing it safe on the barrier wall and then out to the backstretch wall.
So unfortunate that his teammates can't be out here, but at least he's laying down great laps for us today. He's going to go ahead and do one more lap for everyone. Alrighty, Kyler, put down a solid lap for us. Last lap here, representing the whole team. Oh yeah, throwing it real hard into the first sweeper there. Looking real good. Good angle, good smoke. Tell you what, that car looks real dialed in. He looks super comfy behind the wheel there. Real confident. I don't know if David Shanner painted this car too. I mean, I'd assume he might have painted the roof, but I'll tell you what, it looks like he did because it looks real good. Wow, great lap from Kyler. Really throwing it down there. Awesome job. Let's give it up for Kyler of Ghost Riders.
And
doing a heater before he exits the track too. Love to see it.
Yeah, and tons of style in that car, as you had mentioned. The paint job on the roof of that car and the paint job on the car itself. But Kyler has a lot of time and money in that thing, so big burner to shut it down for the Ghost Riders. And Kyler, let's go, Lake Erie Speedway. Let's get these boys rowdy. This is Auto Shop defeat. Miranda Davis in the lead. And Coy following up behind Miranda. Two regulars here at Lake Erie Speedway. Awesome to see them make it out for Vibes Drift. Tight line from Miranda, Coy following. They have tons of laps together, of course, so very good job by Coy mimicking that line by Miranda. Miranda, nice smooth lead into the K-rail here. Miranda with the quick snap, Coy with the good follow. Auto Shop defeat with the solid first line between Miranda and Coy.
Yeah, it was definitely a great lap for them. It looks like they're not going to swap it up, so it looks like Miranda is going to lead again, Coy and Chase. Like, once you said it, I was like, I'm analyzing. I'm like, do I say that? They just broke up now. All right, here they go. Throw it into the first corner. Looking real good out there. Like we've been saying about these other teams, it looks like they're real comfortable driving with each other, which is absolutely crucial when you're driving with your team. It's important to know the lead car's line. It's important to know that you can trust the people behind you. In case you do a little whoopsie, that they could, have good accident avoidance. But looks like they're doing really good here, stacking it up real tight. And into the last corner here. Let's see if they can close up the gap a little bit. Oh, yeah. Great run by both drivers for Auto Shop defeat.
Where's all my drift girls at? Put it together for Miranda Davis and Coy. Auto Shop defeat, laying it down hard in two beautiful cars. Miranda, I believe, with the fresh paint job on that. Coy with the fresh livery and paint too. Looking sharp. Deep Sleep. Been ripping it up all weekend. 2S chassis in the FRZ. I'm sorry, FRS. Little bit of separation here. The FRS goes around. That's gonna put the 2S chassis out front. Trying to catch up a little bit here. Big angle out front. As I said, these guys been throwing it down all weekend. So uncharacteristic to see, the lack of, 2 airs in 1 run from these guys is almost unheard of. So.
Chance, Blair, and Brittany laying down a really good run. Looks like they're going to have the same formation with the S chassis up front. I can't tell if that's Toyota or if it's a Scion FRS. They're all the same cars. And then another S chassis behind. So hopefully they could, hopefully no mistakes this run. They can lay down a solid run like they have been all weekend.
And if you're tuning in, let us know where you're watching from and which team you're rooting for here in the exhibition. Maybe they're from your hometown, maybe not. As we see Chance out front of Blair and Brittany. Big angle here from Chance, as we saw in the first run. Brittany's going to go around behind him. Blair's still in chase of Chance. Blair's sucking right up to the door of Chance. Gonna see another big angle flick here from Chance. A little bit more timid there into the last outside zone. Tough break there for Brittany. Wonder if she had mechanical problems. Saw her go around at the end of the first lap. But overall, great laps there for Deep Sleep. Everybody put it together. Let them hear you.
Alrighty, next up we've got Night Call. They've got, wow, I mean, every single car is different on this team. That is sick. 2S chassis, but everything, we got an FC, we got a Volvo wagon, a Miata.
And the biggest team that we've seen yet today.
Absolutely. So excited to see how these guys lay it down here.
Stacking it up strong, that Volvo wagon out front. Putting on a show here. Night Call stacked up through the center section, getting a little choked up deeper in the line. Everybody gonna gather it back up into the last outside zone. Killer run so far. Some of the best proximity that we've seen yet in the biggest train that we've seen yet. Lake Erie Speedway, this is what it's all about. Put it together. Night Call, absolutely phenomenal first run.
Yeah, talk about a unique team, Volvo wagon, Miata. We got a BMW S chassis, FC, RX-7, and another S chassis. If you'll see a lot of these teams, most of the cars are very similar, but this team, very, very unique. Definitely makes it really cool to see all these different chassis out here, and especially that Volvo wagon. You don't see a lot of people drifting those, but looks like it could definitely hang.
I'd love to get rowdy with a Volvo wagon, I know that. So maybe if I'm lucky later tonight, I can run a couple laps with them. Have some fun with Team Night Call. Night Call going out for lap number 2. Leave in the same order that we were the first time. Heading in one of the higher initiations we've seen yet. Going to allow everybody to get stacked in there nice and easy into this power alley, tight to that inside tractor tire. Nice and smooth here into the center section. Nice and wide from the Volvo wagon.
Great proximity from these guys.
Right to the K-rails as well, Brian. Is right out there again. I've been trying to get everybody out there. They're putting it on right now for the exhibition. Team Night Call into the last outside zone, absolutely stacking them up into the last set of K-rails, their last run, parking those bumpers right up against them, door to door, and almost some havoc at the end. Absolutely throwing it down for you guys, Team Night Call.
So, like we said before, Ben, super important to know exactly how your teammates drive, and they did an excellent job of accident avoidance right there at the end, laying down a heater before we exit the track.
And if you're standing on that backstretch wall, I want to see those noodles moving. I want to see those hands waving on the fence to get those guys extra rowdy.
Alrighty, Team Shade going out there. Looks like we've got another interesting lineup of cars. We've got 350Z, a Vet, Miata, and another 350Z. Looks like these guys are super, super comfortable with driving with each other, stacking it up real close. I'd say this has got to be the best proximity we've seen out here so far. Wow, doing real well. Let's see how they laid into the last corner here.
Yeah, they've been one of the most fun to watch from grid all weekend. Stacking it up here into the last turn. Bumpers right up against that K-rail. Absolutely throwing it down, nearly collision twice.
Let's give it up for these
Team
guys.
Shade put it together. Gonna reorganize here on the bank, try to shake it up. As from what I've noticed all weekend, it doesn't really matter the order for these guys. They throw it down, and this Miata has got some frickin' speed in it too.
That is one thing I've noticed. We don't really get a lot of Miatas here at Lake Erie Speedway, but when Vibes comes around, we get quite a few of them, which is nice to see. It's nice to see some Miata buddies out here. Wow. Throwing it real hard to the first corner.
Right on his bumper.
Wow, that is sweet. I mean, right away, they're just excellent proximity. They don't really need to catch up to each other. Keeping it real tight there. Whoa, a little bit of collision, but they're keeping it going. Big flame out of that Miata. Wow. Awesome run from these guys. Keeping it together. Wow. I got to say, man, it's incredible that they did that little boop and kept it going, man. They didn't let it phase them. That Miata shooting some crazy fire out of it. Holy Toledo. Awesome run from these guys. Awesome proximity, flames, smoke, everything. Great run, guys.
If you're joining us on the live stream, make sure you give it a share. Tag a friend that needs to watch as the action is rolling. So they've already missed some, shouldn't miss any more. If you're down there around the pit area and you're not watching, get your butt over to the fence because you're missing out on some of the hardest driving of the whole weekend. Up next, we got my friends and I, Justin Noun and Zach Thomas. Slow and steady into turn number 1. Nice snap to angle there on initiation. Keeping it stacked up here through the middle. Lower power for these guys, so these bigger sections of the track, not as easy for them. These tight sections play right into their hand as they get right on stacked up here. The last outside zone, gonna run that a little bit narrower. As I mentioned earlier, everybody's driving style a little bit different. That outside zone. Good finish there for my friends and I, Justin Noun and Zach Thomas. Solid first run.
Yeah, so as you can see now, we've got quite a few cars on grid. Some real sweet cars. Lots of interesting builds out there for sure, and lots of talent. So we're gonna keep it rolling here. We're gonna keep sending these cars, and we're gonna keep putting on a show for you guys today.
Dennis getting ready to send them for their second lap. Gonna flip-flop the order here. See a little bit different perspective from lead and chase. Little bit tighter chase here on the second run. These guys mimicking each other's lines. Absolutely beautiful line and angle. Great style here too. Very clean. Nice kitted up BMWs for my friends and I. Into that last outside zone. Way wider line this time here. Right up against the K-rail. And out to the wall. And a surge pass at the end for my friends and I. The first surge pass that we've seen yet. How will that play into effect? Will we see more surge passing?
I gotta admit, I kind of hope so. That was neat to throw that in there. A little surge pass never hurt anyone, you know. Alrighty, next team coming out here is Beyond Help. Lots of talent on this team. We see them drive at most of our Erie events here, so super excited to see the lap they throw down for us here. You actually notice on Andrew Stoller's car, those are authentic dollar bills from what I believe. Fiberglass onto his hood there. I got a pretty sweet video of it yesterday. But as you can see, these guys have been throwing it down with each other for a while now. Super consistent drivers, very, very close proximity. And they're putting on an awesome, awesome exhibition run here.
So that's Vance Kearns in the blue BMW. That's his dad, Kenny, out front in the red Infiniti. Quick shout out for Vance winning Drift Indy Street League a couple weeks ago. So a lot of talent here on Beyond Help. Absolutely killer lead from Kenny. Andrew and Vance stacking it up behind them. And that's Ryan and Brett on the backside there. So two cars on this team with money on the vehicle.
These boys can't hide money over here at Beyond Help. I mean,
well, I mean that kid on the BMW, all right up against the wall, is replace the wear holes with dollar bills because might as well if you were throwing new overs on it.
I don't know if you're saving money by doing it, but hey, it sure as hell looks cool.
Beyond Help. Kenny, Andrew, Vance, Ryan, and Brett. Kenny pulling away from Andrew a little bit. Vance surges back up to Andrew. Nice and tight here through the center section. Andrew back up to Kenny's door. Vance on Andrew. Ryan on Vance. Stacking them up at like hotcakes at IHOP, man. Beyond Help. Serving up breakfast for the Speedway here this evening. How's about it? Breakfast in bed from Beyond Help. Laying the stacks right in your lap.
Let's
Lake
give it
Erie
up to these
Speedway,
boys.
let's get rowdy. Let's go.
I don't know how you come up with this shit so fast.
Breakfast in bed.
Alrighty, next up we've got Kill Shot. We got 1, 2, 3 cars. BMW 350Z and a S chassis. Let's see how these boys throw it down. Looks like that BMW's a rocket ship, man. That 350Z's having a little bit of trouble keeping up with them. Hopefully they'll pinch it up here in the tight parts of the track. Looks like they might. Looks like they're trying to pinch it up a little bit. Let's see how they do in the outside corner. A little bit of a shallow line in the outside corner there for the BMW 350Z. I'd say right in the middle there, as well as that that S chassis. Let's see, they're gonna bumper drag it. Oh, a little bit of a bumper mishap there for the BMW at the end right there.
Yeah, you can see I haven't really touched on it. I touched on it during the Pro-Am, during spring mats. You know, if you get messy early, it's really hard to keep things together, you know. So we saw the BMW out front there kind of start to pull away in front of his other kill shot teammates, and then just kind of struggle to get things back together. As you know, like that big section down through the center before you get to that really tight part of the layout is a really big momentum area. So if you're out of shape going in there, you really got to be careful trying to close in on proximity. So you can really tell, you know, the guys that have been driving together for a really long time and some of the teams that, you know, are kind of trying to establish themselves a little bit better, you know, and just their comfortability with one another through that area of the track in specific. So keep your eye on that. If you're watching on the live stream, like I said, make sure you give it a share. Tag a friend in the comments that needs to see the action.
All right, it looks like we got that bumper cleaned up off the track thanks to safety here, and we're going to send him again. Looks like they're going to go in a different orientation this time. S chassis leading, the 350Z behind, and the BMW. Let's see if this helps him out a little bit. Looks like there's a big power difference with all three of these cars. You know, I'm not sure if I can't see an intercooler on the front of that S chassis there, so I'm not sure if it's a turbo car or not. But looks like they're closing up the gap quite a bit here. Oh! So once again, like we said, with that accident avoidance right there, that was an excellent job by both of these teammates to avoid any collision there, especially considering he's missing that front bumper there. So, you know, that could have possibly damaged something behind, you know, behind where that front bumper mounts that could be quite crucial, like a, you know, radiator support, radiator, whatever have you, oil cooler. That's where all my stuff is. So would not want to get a boop there. Looks like we got the Z throwing down a nice heater before he exits the track. Alrighty, next up we've got Swamp Kids. So these guys have been driving together for years now. Bunch of talented drivers, and as you'll see, you see it right. That is a WRX that's rear-wheel drive swapped. We got a Corvette WRX, G35, another Vet, and a Beamer. So these guys are all very consistent drivers. They drive here frequently. I want to say most of them are staff members here, so you know they help throw on events for everyone else. Oh, Travis, a little slippery with the, coming into the tight part of the track here, but he's gonna keep it going. Looks like we gotta get this. BMW might have a little bit of a mechanical problem, perhaps not. Looks like he's gonna initiate again for this final corner here. Hopefully they can stack it up.
Solid first run for the Swamp Kids. A little bit of trouble early on there for Travis and Dalton. See if the Swamp Kids can tighten it up for run number 2 and see all 5 of the Swamp Kids together here as getting into the center section of the layout. A little bit of difficulty there. Certainly, you know, if somebody ends up going around, don't want to risk it, you know, to keep it going and cause an accident, especially between a couple of your teammates. We got a lot of driving left to do here this weekend, as we're driving until 11 p.m. or 11:30 tonight and 4 p.m. tomorrow. Swamp Kids run number 2. We're going to maintain the same order here. A little bit lower on the bank this time around. A little bit more stacked up. Trouble for Dalton out back. A little bit more organized here through the center. Real tight here through the tight section of the track. That's what we've been seeing all weekend. A little bit of contact with the tractor tire. And that white WRX sucking up to the door of that Corvette. The Corvette putting on a smoke show. Into the last zone, right out to you guys on the wall. Let's hear it. Put your hands together for the Swamp Kids, everybody. Throwing it down here in the team exhibition.
Up next, we've got Life Ruiner, another awesome group of guys, and these guys just really throw it down. Frame Maybach, Chris Hooker, Matt McCallion. Looks like Dave Nashwinter's getting in there with the Life Ruiner boys. Then we got Joe Sansone and Sean Callahan at the back end of the fleet there. So these guys are all phenomenal drivers. They all really know how to throw down, and you're going to really see that here. As you see, doing a great job with the proximity, throwing real good angle. Fred Maybach and Chris Hooker, when they were driving earlier, we were running grid, and they were flipping the bird to each other mid-drift, which was absolutely hilarious to see. It just goes to show how comfortable they are driving with each other. Chris Hooker really put it on Fred's door there.
Trying to leave the tread marks.
Oh, yeah. It looks like, it wouldn't surprise me if on the second run we see a little bit of door.
Of that car as well. Joe Sansone trying to figure out the setup on his car as he's recently acquired that. Dave Nashwinter, the heckin'
good boys. Heckin' good boys.
Yeah, but what's the funny sticker that he had? The life dream heckin'.
Yeah, it's all over the place. But Dave is a great driver. He's also a staff member here and, does a lot for everyone here at the track. He really is like the drift dad. He's helped a lot of us out. Dave was, as a matter of fact, was my first tandem ever. And here they go. The boys are sending it again.
Same order.
Really stacking it up nice and close there on the first bank.
Chris right up against Fred. Matt doing everything he can to put it on Chris. Absolutely stacked down here through the center. A little bit of trouble in the back for Sean. I'm going to reinitiate to Joe. Into the center section of the track. A little bit of contact between Joe and Sean. Chris sucks right up to the door of Fred right out front. Chris, Fred, Matt, and Dave stacking dimes down there. In a gaggle to finish it. Let's get a burner down there. Let's get a burner. Burners. Let's go. Let's get loud. They're
laying
them
down
up,
the
baby.
rubber.
Let's go.
So we were just told up here in the booth that 3 out of those 6 drivers had engines out of their cars within the last week. So that goes to show, the dedication that these guys have to come in here and putting on a good show for everyone and coming here and just ripping one hell of a lap. And Joe just imported that car not that long ago from Japan, if I remember correctly. So definitely an unfamiliar car for him, but it wouldn't show with how he just drove.
And notorious are they for being some of the biggest burnouts at our Matt's Erie events. So had to get them to throw it down real quick in front of you.
Alrighty, up next is Fortune Fleet. When I was running grid earlier, these guys were absolutely throwing it down. So I expect to see the same thing out of them right now. We got 2 vets and an S chassis. A little bit of gap there, but very consistent on the line. Coming into the tight part of the track here, like we've been saying, this is a very difficult part of the track. Got to carry a lot of momentum, and as you can see, the S chassis not carrying quite enough momentum there. The vet's almost doing a little flip-flop there. And then into the final corner, it looks like the vet's going to be stacked up on each other. And perhaps the S chassis having a little bit of trouble, probably running a bit smaller of a tire than these vets are running. And, you know, I would assume probably another SR car, so perhaps a little bit less horsepower than these LS-powered Corvettes. But as we speak about at the Matsuri events, Ben, these Corvettes are really coming out of the, coming out of nowhere. I mean, they're all of a sudden, it's like everyone's got a drift vet, and it works. You know, the tranny, the motors, they're already set up. You know, coilovers, angle, and you got yourself a hell of a car to compete with.
Yeah, you get your major powertrain components right out of the box with that option, as you mentioned. So definitely a popular choice as we see run number 2 from Fortune Fleet. 2 Corvettes out front and S chassis out back. Mid-bank line here, big on the left foot brake out front. You see him smoking the front tires down into the middle section of the track here. Nice transition, nice line. Into the hairpin, right out to those K-rails. Both sets of K-rails down into the big sweeper, filling all of that outside zone, dropping a wheel up onto the banking. Fortune Fleet been ripping all weekend and doing just that. Another burst pass here we're gonna see at the end. So our second burst pass of the night. Everybody put your hands together for Fortune Fleet. The louder you get, the harder they drive. I want to see you guys on that backstretch wall getting those guys hyped up to get all the way out there to those noodles. Media down there on track. Get these guys going. Let's get rowdy as we're just getting ready to get started here.
Got Dream State going out. Looks like Dave's on every team this weekend. I don't know what is going on here. Looks like we've got Matt McCallion, Josh Bender, Derek Ludlow, and then we got Dave Nashwinter, who seems to be the adopted man for every team this weekend. I'll tell you what, though, it doesn't matter who he's driving with. He can stack it right up. These guys doing real good on proximity. Oh, getting pretty tight there on that tight section of the track. And throwing it down into the last outer corner here.
Solid first run here for Dream State. As almost some contact finishing off the run. It's one thing that we haven't talked about a whole lot yet is some of the engine swaps that you see out here. A lot of cars, have that turbo SR swap anymore, getting more and more expensive. And a lot of, V8 power and JZ power out here this weekend. So a lot of really cool builds, a lot of really cool swaps, and a lot of really cool drivers too.
And here they go, sending them again. Looks like they changed their orientation a little bit. Big gap between the team there. Perhaps Josh having a little bit of, Derek's having a little bit of trouble with his car there. I know he's been fighting a couple demons this weekend, but nevertheless laying down a really good lap.
Nonetheless, the 2x2 split is very, very organized.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Dave keeping it real close on Derek's door there. Just a quick shameless plug to Derek at D. Lud's Fab. You guys need some fabrication work done in the Buffalo area, Rochester area, perhaps even further if you don't have a good fabricator near you. Derek is the guy to go to. We actually we outsource to him every day at my job, and he's going to be doing some work here shortly on my Miata. Dave laying down absolute heater. That's a lot of smoke. Holy Toledo.
Yeah, I believe that's 6-liter under the hood of that S14. So no shortage of torque to light those up.
Like the Chinese food?
No, like a car that's dumplings. Like the food, but it's dumplings.
You can say that then. I'm going to say dumplings.
All right, so we got the dumplings up next. Chris, Keanu, and Nathan have had some trouble this weekend. Believe the lead car was in the wall on Friday. So able to get everything mended and back together. I did see them running earlier, absolutely stacking it up. A little bit of contact there between those two bumpers gone. Into the last outside zone here. It's keeping it stacked up a little bit. Lots of proximity towards the back. Down into our last turn, right out to you guys on the back stretch. Oh, nearly contact with the wall. Had to get out of it out front there to avoid putting the door right in the wall. So lots of commitment there out front.
We're going to get this bumper cleared off the track real quick here so that way it doesn't, affect anyone's driving here, or so that way we don't ruin the bumper anymore. It already is. But real quick, we just want to give a shout-out to some of our sponsors here. Drift HQ coming all the way from Florida to come support us here at Team Vibes. We really appreciate it. Grip Royal, Coral Works, Silver Suspension, Enjoy the Machine, DriftPizza.us. If you haven't gotten a calendar from him yet, you definitely should. We got Tilted Industries, Upside Works, Patrol Box, Smile Death, and Steel City Society. So we've got lots of support out here at this event. And, if you're sitting at home watching, you got a team, why are you not here?
And it's growing every year. If you want to be involved with this as a driver, as a media person, as a sponsor, please reach out to us on the Vibes Facebook page or the website where you can email us. Be a sponsor. Registration will go up at some point in the near future for drivers and media for next year. As we see run number 2 coming up. Little bit unorthodox initiation, but leads them stacked up, coming through the big sweep down into the center section here. Real aggressive to get back, stacked door to door. As we saw in the first run, there was some contact here, nearly contact again. As you can tell, no strangers to contact, absolutely throwing it down with one another. Killer second run here, putting on the smoke screen against the K-rail, out to you guys on the back stretch. So 2 really good runs there from the dumplings. Chris, Keanu, and Nathan. Up next, we're going to see Sinister.
So yesterday morning, or perhaps Friday evening. What is today? Saturday. Yes, so yesterday, AJ's car, who's going to be leading Sinister here, was not even running. So he's got to run it. Let's see how he throws it down. These boys are from Drift Evergreen, and they come out here and drive with us. We go down there, drive with them. So we really appreciate them making the haul up here to Northeast PA to come and lay down a awesome couple laps for everyone to see. So that quick backstory: Sinister had all their cars in a garage, which lit on fire. Not sure how, but AJ, as you can see, kept his car, burnt to a crisp. Put a 1J in it, and that thing absolutely rips.
And AJ just hanging the style out there. Actually, almost got him wadded up back there. Oh, contact!
A little kiss never hurt anyone. That looked like a little boop.
As Mike Tyson would say, now kith. Like to keep it light up in the booth. Hope everybody else is keeping it light here at the Speedway. As I said before, the louder you are, the harder they drive. Let's get rowdy, Lake Erie Speedway. We're just getting started here for the evening as we're making it a better portion of the way through the team exhibition, but just getting really started for our evening. Dennis turning them up for Team Sinister's run number 2.
All right, AJ throwing it real hard there.
See if AJ keeps throwing that huge angle at it.
I'll tell you what, he's laying down a phenomenal lead run for his teammates to chase here. I do believe there is a couple more of the Sinister boys who unfortunately couldn't make it out, but these 3 cars looking phenomenal out there. I love the purple and blue, and the green is sharp, man. These cars look real good. Real talented drivers throwing down an awesome lap. You can hear that 1J just living on the limiter. And closing up the gap at the end here. Awesome run by these guys. Let's give it up for Team Sinister.
Our grid man, Dennis, shaking it up down on grid. Trying to get these boys hyped up and ready to roll here.
All right, so up next is Total Loss. These boys have been absolutely killing it. I honestly don't even know if they were a team like 3 years ago, but they kind of popped out of nowhere, and I'll tell you what, these guys throw down these BMWs. Like when we were running grid before, this is exactly how they look. So they're super consistent drivers. We actually saw a couple of them driving down to Grid Life, which was super cool to see. And they're out here at Lake Erie Speedway putting on a awesome lap for everyone to enjoy. Stacking up real tight there in that corner around the tractor tire there, and then into the last corner. It looks like they're going to pinch it up a little bit. Perhaps the third car is pushing a little bit, but it looks like he's able to throw the car, get it to angle out a little bit. Looks like something might be going on with that third car in the pile there. When it came around that last corner, it was hopping pretty good. Looked like a 6'4" Impala.
Quick shout out to Gary at 454 Media down there. Snapping pictures. Off for their second run, shaking up the order, and absolutely killer first run. A little bit disordered towards the end of the first run, but off to a good start here. Our Team Total Loss. Big momentum down there into the middle, stacking it up strong into the hairpin. Big angle, nearly some contact there between the second and third Total Loss members. Transition into our last outside zone, dropping a tire up there on the bank. These guys keeping it real organized this time. Oh, and a spin to avoid contact there at the end. So both runs for Team Total Loss getting real spicy going into the K-rail wall. 2 really good runs though overall besides that. As Brian had mentioned, Team Total Loss kind of busting onto the scene, throwing it down hard all weekend. So glad to see them put together 2 really nice runs here for the exhibition.
Looks like Never Ready is ready to throw down some good laps for us.
Earl, Joseph, Alex, of Team Never Ready. I believe that's Martha that's out front. Joe unable to make it. So these 3 stacking it up into the middle. Little bit of distance between them as you see everybody trying to cut it in to get back door to door. GTO right up to the door of that Fox body into the last outside zone. As I had mentioned before, if you're disheveled getting a start to your run, it's kind of tough to get it back together. So it looks like that's what we're going to see. Some never ready as that red Corvette goes around at the end of the run. Starting to see the hairiness of this layout, as a lot of these guys make it look really easy.
Yeah, Ben and I can attest to everyone here watching and everyone on the live stream that it is, in fact, not an easy layout. Generally, when we do the Match Area events, it's a little bit more spread out, not as tight and technical. And this event is really showing us, who could really throw down the car, because there's a lot of high-speed corners, and there's some that you really got to slow down. And then at the end of the day, you really got to have a hydro to hit that last corner right. And lots of diversity in this team, too. We got a Fox body, a GTO, and a Vet. So GTO, probably one of the first GTOs I've seen drift here. Definitely a different chassis to drift with. But, I believe those come with 6 liters and T56s. So it looks like, a little bit of angle, a little bit of coilover, and you got yourself a Corvette that's a lot more unique in a way,
Yeah, you can fit the family in that Corvette because it's got a back seat. So a nice new chassis to see here at the Speedway.
Looks like we might throw down some heaters. Oh, yeah.
3 V8s, 2 Chevys and a Ford, laying down the smoke. If the Ford's dead, it's in its natural habitat. Sorry. Oh, she's got her going.
Light them up again.
Up next, we're going to see Team Bad Blood. Ian, Taylor, Tyler, and Justin. Dennis sending them off. That Vert BMW out front, absolutely beautiful. I'm going to call it a root beer color on these cars.
I'd say that's pretty accurate. Definitely a root beer color. Oh, looks like the BMW might be pulling off. Maybe having some mechanical issues. Are they pulling off track? Yep, something definitely happened, but it looks like the rest of the team unfazed by it, still going along. I can't tell if that's G35, G37, but it is a gorgeous car. Then we got a S chassis and a 240Z, I want to say. I'm not too good with the old Datsuns, but it's certainly a 280Z, excuse me. Definitely a sweet car to see out here drifting, though. Looks like it's not having too much trouble keeping up with these 90s and, I guess late 2000s cars.
So good first run for Bad Blood. Trouble for the Vert out front, so that's going to leave us with 3. I'm telling you, love the color, big style for these Bad Blood cars. There's a low line on the bank. Some prefer to take the middle or on the bank, some on the bottom. It's more flat down there around the bottom. A little bit less grip, forcing you down. Stacked up tight down here through the middle. You can see that paint color change in that beautiful Lake Erie sunset as they come around the last outside zone. Gotta be heavy on the left foot brake, laying down the smoke show. Bad Blood, 2 really good runs. Big fireball out of the back of that 240.
Whoa. Holy moly, that was a big old fireball.
280, lighten them up.
All right, next up, it looks like we've got Alosa. These guys have been really throwing it down this weekend. Certainly a team of very talented drivers, and super excited to see the lap that they're going to put down for us here.
Alosa out of grid for their first run.
2 BMWs and an IS 250, perhaps? Not too good with the Lexus chassis cars, but love to see them out here. They're certainly real good cars. Anything built by Toyota seems to be, you know, pretty solid car to start off with. IS 300.
Stacking it up tight in the center. Nearly some contact in transition. Oh, all over each other here into the power alley. Into the last outside zone here. Tightening it up. These guys keep parking it on the K-rail.
Lots of limiter from these BMWs, as you can hear it here in the tight section. It looks like a double
surge.
Double surge pass there.
The bar has been raised. No more surge
Someone needs to do a
passes.
triple surge pass. What is the word? Apparently it's a burst pass, so excuse us for our not knowing what we're talking about up here, but Scott Petty luckily is up here to correct us. So it originated from Team Burst in Japan. So super cool. A little bit of 101 for you there.
Darren getting them hyped up down on grid. Alosa on the bank, sucking right up against the door. Oh, buddy. Could hardly fit a sheet of paper in there. Everybody get on your feet, throwing it down here. Some of the best proximity we've seen, nearly front bumper tapping on the door. Oh, there's contact.
Oh, wow.
Let's go, everybody. Team Alosa putting it on the line. Contact all over the place. See what they do here down on the K-rail. Big commitment from the black BMW, sucking right up to the door.
Oh, and a wall tap to
Two
finish
wall
her
taps.
off. Looks
Team
like you might have lost
Alosa.
what do you lose back there? What is that, over fender? Or part of a bender, part of a bumper, perhaps?
Yeah, I think that we had a double wall smacker there.
If you look here down on grid, we've got this this handsome man down here running grid for us. Looks like you know, the clothes are becoming less and less. He's doing his dance, getting down and jiggy with it. Love to see it.
Okay, Dennis. Okay, Dennis. Okay.
Yeah.
Dennis bringing the vibes, two vibes always. No doubt about it.
Oh, yeah, putting on a show for us. Usually you have to pay to see this kind of stuff, but here at Lake Erie Speedway, we give it to you for free.
Oh, gotta keep it light here at Vibes, so we always appreciate Dennis. The drivers love having him down there on grid.
Especially for those pre-lap jitters. I mean, when he's out there dancing and hyping you up, it makes it a lot easier. And I find that when he's out there running grid, I throw down some of my hardest runs. All right, next up we've got Team Hayes, and these guys are always throwing it super hard. Very consistent drivers, always doing really well with each other. I was running grid for them a little bit ago, but as you can see, 3S chassis and a BMW. That beautiful color. What would you call that color, Ben? You seem to be a good analyzer of the colors. I'd say it's like a purple, gray, silver. We're not even sure, but it looks sweet. And as you can see, these guys carrying lots of speed, closing up the gap here into the tight part of the track.
Being told that that is Hayes purple. Whoa! First pass on the hairpin. First one that we've seen all day. Hayes absolutely throwing it down. Big smoke at the end. Put your hands together for Hayes. Another burst pass. Oh, little bit of contact. the X factor, the wow, the style from Hayes. And you definitely know that you picked the right color when people don't even know what it is. Love the color.
Yeah, it's definitely unique. I mean, you know, this is definitely the only 4 cars I've ever seen with that color. Not sure if they have any more teammates that perhaps aren't here, but I tell you what, it looks sharp, and especially with the sun hitting on it, it looks real good.
I think that they might have switched 2 cars in the lineup. The first 2 cars, I think, might have swapped. Down into the center here, Hayes stacking it up. Oh, a burst pass in a different section of the track and a mishap in the back, but Hayes saying,
oh,
why they
2
should win the
of them!
Exhibition.
Let's go!
Hayes making it known here in the Exhibition that they are here for Vibes 2023. You guys better put it together hard for these guys, throwing it down.
Really rode the wall there at the end of that run. I don't know if everyone saw that, but I'll tell you what, that was hairy. Got into the pebbles and everything. Laying down a heater before they leave the track. Love to see it.
Up next, we got Team Smooth Brain heading down into turn number 1.
And as we said before, you know, these Miatas are getting more and more popular out here on the drift course. They've definitely seen the drift tax, I'll tell you that much. But looks like they can hang with the Z's, they can hang with the Beamers and the S chassis, that's for sure. And looks like this team is throwing down an awesome lap for us. Love the livery on these cars. It looks real, real good. And into the final corner here. Looks like they're going to stack it up pretty good. Wow, that looks real good. 2 Beamers, a Z, and a Miata. Let's see. They're going to do a pass. Nope. Keep it real tight at the end there. Great lap from Team Smooth Brain.
Isaac, Sam, Miles, Cody, and Seth throwing it down on run number 1. Another one of these teams that we're seeing in transition. Just about almost every transition, there could be contact and bumpers flying across the racetrack. And that's what you paid to see here at Vibes. We're proud to boast here at Lake Erie Speedway that we host one of the biggest invite-only drift events on the entire coast, if not the Northeast, is Team Smooth Brain going back in for run number 2, right where they left off, all stacked up on one another, down into the alley. Miata sucking in on the back. Absolutely beautiful how these guys follow the line of the guy in front of them. Absolutely great angle. Some tire rubs down here through the middle into that last outside zone. Arms out the window for everybody on the team. Can't tell if they're flying anything in particular, but all arms out the window for Team Smooth Brain. Absolutely killing it on the proximity. Maybe 2 of the most consistent proximity runs that we've seen all day, Brian.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you on that one, Ben. That was definitely good for both runs that they did here for the exhibition. Definitely both very consistent runs. Alrighty, Car Shop Karoshi coming up next. Damian Scott and Chad Cheminsky. Love the livery of both of these cars. Miata and S chassis. Let's see how they throw it down. Little.
Damian not out there. Car Shop, Kuroshi, Chad and James getting after it. Having a little bit of trouble here on this first run. See if they can stick it together for run number 2. These guys are absolute shredders. So surprised to see the trouble, maybe something mechanical here. See if they both maintain. They will, so see if Car Shop Kuroshi, I'm gonna swap the order potentially here. Yep. So now we're going to see James out front and Chad in the chase for Car Shop Kuroshi. Dennis getting ready to send him off. Into turn number 1. Right there out against that yellow line. Miata trying to suck up to the S13 here. Down through the middle, does just that. Wide here, burst pass for Kuroshi. Just trouble with the S13, like I said, wondering if maybe he's having some mechanical trouble there.
So not, just to touch on something real quick. Not sure if that's a turbo Miata or not, but I know with my car I have to shift like 3 times to do this course. That's something to keep in mind for everyone. It's not just throwing it and drive and moseying along the course. I mean, there's so much more to it. Obviously your initial initiation for the drift, and then some people clutch kick. Some people e-brake, some people throwing in another gear to keep the RPMs up, stay in boost. So, lots going on here to make it successfully around the course and to make sure you're maintaining proximity with your team. Not only is it important to run a very good lead run, but it's super important to run a good chase run as well. But without a good lead run, it's almost impossible to run a good chase run. So, lots of responsibility on the lead driver.
So next we're going to see Maxed Out Mafia. Yeah, Trey and the Miata. And a lot of trouble for Maxed Out Mafia here so far this weekend. Some tough luck for those guys. So just the couple of drivers from Maxed Out Mafia participating here. Nice and stacked up there through the middle. Turbo Miata keeping up well with that G into the last outside zone. Little bit shallower line there from the Miata. Nice proximity. Solid first run and a burst pass to finish it off for the first run for Maxed Out Mafia.
I'll tell you what, Ben, we've been seeing a lot of these burst passes. I'm surely glad we have the correct terminology now, so that way we don't sound like a bunch of goons up here in the booth. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how the G keeps up with the Turbo Miata now. Not sure what kind of power the Turbo Miata is making, but if I had to guess, I'd say around 250 maybe. So probably pretty similar horsepower numbers, but obviously a big difference with the weight of the vehicles and how they drive. Two-wheel drive or two-door convertible and a four-door big body.
Way up on the bank there for Trey, carrying big speed off the bank down into the center section here. So down through the center section here, nice and tight for Maxed Out Mafia. Nice to see them swap the lead and chase. Can tell that they're on the same page with one another on both sides. Down to the K rail. Trey putting that bumper right against it. Solid 2 runs for Maxed Out Mafia. And now a little bit of celebration for Trey with a burner for you guys sitting over there in the pit grandstand. Stand up. Give it up for Trey and Maxed Out Mafia. So up next we have Team Hostile, another Lake Erie Speedway regular for us. Little bit of disarray, getting the run started, starting to tighten things up down here through the center section. And a lot of vibrant colors on Team Hostile as well, so big style for these guys. Into outside, the last outside zone, stacking it up. And a little bit more disarray on the way out here. Trying to get it together. And almost some contact to finish it off. So, as I'd mentioned before, I hate to sound like a broken record, but if you can't get together on the start of the run, can be hard to grab it back together throughout the rest of the layout. Especially with the way that you need to be committed down there through the center section. So see if Hostile can get a little bit cleaner start to their run here to maintain that proximity in line with one another.
So it's interesting to see, you know, some of the teams are swapping up who's leading, you know, who's in the middle of the pack, whatever. But it looks like they're going to maintain where they were the first time. So maybe that's how they're comfortable driving normally. I know Joe Brown just got that car put together. He's had all kinds of issues with fuel delivery and stuff like that. But glad to see him out here throwing down good laps. Looking like we're having a little bit of trouble in the back of the pack here with Savannah and Rob. For those of you who didn't know, they are married. And they come out here and drift with these 240s with their team. It's looking like they're trying to stack it up here in the most difficult part of the course. Oh, almost some collision there with Joe Brown and Rob. And they're going to finish it off in the last part of the track here in the big sweeper.
So overall, 2 pretty good runs for Team Hostile, just struggling early on in the run and ultimately unable to keep the whole team stacked together. So you can see just how important that really is on the start of the run. Up next, Team Tandem Factory. Will, Kaylin, Sergey, Sean, John, and James. So it looks like everybody's not able to make it out. They were all out for the team picture earlier. These guys absolutely ripping. Love the sound of that BMW V8. Oh, almost some contact as the lead car goes around. See if they finish off the run or just regroup for run number 2. They will reinitiate here. These drivers coming from all over the United States. Some of our farthest travelers were the Drift HQ guys coming all the way from Florida, but surely some other travelers not to scoff at. Upwards of 8, 10, 12 hours. As
Yep.
I had started to mention earlier, you can be here next year. Not exactly sure when the registrations will open, but keep your eyes on the Vibes website where you can register as a driver, you can register your team, or register as a media person to get in on the action.
Might see if we can have our team out here next year, Ben. And here we go into the first corner here. We got the Z, a newer, is that a BMW? Wow, it looks like a brand new car. We've got a Mustang and we've got another S chassis car out here on the track. Looks like they're staying real consistent on this run. Keeping good proximity throughout the tight part of the track. Let's see how they close it up in the last corner here. Looks like the blue S chassis having a little bit of trouble. That Z putting down lots of tire smoke. And a pretty great job there stacking it up towards the end. The Beamer getting real close to the wall. Looking like it hit a couple of them noodles. Let's give it up for this team, Tandem Factory.
Again, if you're joining us on the live stream, make sure you tag that friend that shouldn't be missing out on the action. Give it a share as we get ready to send out Tanga Boys, Matt and Chris. These guys have been ripping all day today as well. That Z making some healthy power, that's for sure. As a little bit of distance between them there into the bank, tighten it up into the center section, a little bit of understeer here out front from the lead driver, closing up in that Z into the center. Last outer zone. As I had mentioned, if you can't get that first turn under wraps, it kind of throws you off for the rest of the run. So that's what we see here for run number one of the Tanga Boys. See if they can get a little bit closer here in run number two.
So it looks like for run number two, we're going to have the Z going first, followed by the S chassis. Going to swap up the order here. And sometimes when they swap the order, you'll find that, that a certain driver may be a little bit more comfortable chasing as opposed to leading. So it'll be interesting to see if that is the case here. The Z shooting out, and the S chassis following behind. Looks like they got a camera poking out of the sunroof there. A little bit of flame from the S chassis on the first corner. Lots of tire smoke from that Z. That man is cruising.
Huge angle.
Yeah, lots of angle from that Z. Lots of tire smoke. Not sure what's under the hood, but man, that thing boogies. Let's see into the last corner here if they can close it up a little bit. Decent proximity on the last corner. And a great run by both drivers.
Absolutely. When I was on grid earlier, having that Z rip past me, knew it was making a little bit more spice than what stock VQ would be. Not sure if that car's swapped or not. Take a quick second to mention anybody that's spectating the action is far from over at the end of the exhibition. We will be drifting until 11:30 p.m. tonight. So make sure you stop by the Rusty Wheel, get some food and some drinks to keep you going. And make sure you make your way over to the pits. You can take a ride in these cars that you're seeing here in the team exhibition, in the passenger seat if they have the time and the seat available. as I'm sure that most of these guys are more than willing to take you for a ride. And if you were looking to get into drifting, I'm sure that you might be able to find something for sale. Maybe not a car that's here, but maybe a car that one of these guys has at home, or a buddy that they know has a car that they would sell, and the knowledge that you would need to be able to get started. And everybody's more than willing to help with that knowledge. So don't be shy to stop by and ask some questions if drifting seems like something you want to get started in.
Looks like next up we're getting ready to send Broken Motion here. Some of my favorite drivers to watch here. Kevin, an absolute ripper in that red S chassis car there. I mean, it's incredible to watch him drive that car. He just knows how to wheel it. And excited to see the lap that they put down here for us today. It looks like we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 of their cars out here today. Although the fourth one broke their clutch, so probably not driving this lap. But first 3 cars, we've got the S chassis, and a BMW. Excited to see them lay down this lap for us.
Broken Motion heading out for their first lap. Kevin in chase of Sam with Chris behind him.
I'll say these are all LS-powered cars, Ben. That certainly sounds like it.
I think you might be right.
Looking like they're doing an awesome job of proximity here. Kevin really putting it on lead driver's door. I'll tell you what, there's no shortage of torque with these LS-powered cars. I mean, even going real slow around that tractor tire there, they're able to mash the throttle and get it going for that last corner. Let's give it up for this proximity and tire smoke coming out of these 3 cars.
These guys always throw it down, just absolutely stacked through the end of the run. Kevin trying to leave the tire marks right on Sam's door. Dog box transmission in that red S chassis. I was talking to Kevin about that. He absolutely loves it. Had the opportunity to run that car on a couple road courses. He was over in Virginia. Said it's a little bit aggressive for the speedway, but man, let me tell you, when you're working grid and he comes tearing by you and just rowing through gears, it's one of the coolest sounds that I've ever heard, man.
All right, looks like they're going to keep the same order for this lap. Let's see how they throw it in here. 3 LS-powered cars. Man, Kevin really keeping it tight. Looks like they're going to close out the proximity here. Wow, look at that. Tight transition. Oh, a little bit too much juice from the yellow car. Unfortunately, spins it around. But looks like he's going to probably be able to catch back up, I would assume. And then hopefully they can finish out strong on this last corner here for the Broken Motion boys.
Make sure you stop by one of those Broken Motion trailers later for a Capri Sun, because these boys brought the juice to the speedway today. Kevin Madden throwing it right against the door of Sam. How's about it, Lake Erie Speedway? Put your hands together for Broken Motion.
You're phenomenal. Stop by for a Capri Sun. Bring in the juice. I love it. These headpieces suck.
Yeah,
These things hurt like hell. Yeah, they suck.
Up next, we're going to see Team Pretend, Skylar, Scott, and Chris. These guys have been absolutely ripping. 2 of the most unique cars here at the Speedway this weekend.
This man has a USPS livery on his car. That is wild. Definitely different to see, right? I mean, it's good to see these unique builds. Honestly, I couldn't even tell you what kind of car that is.
Yeah, that's a Subaru out front with a Subaru power plant under the hood. It's one of the most unique cars I've seen at the track in a good first run for Team Pretend. As you had mentioned, that U.S. Postal Service livery, it's because he's delivering doors to his teammates here all weekend.
Delivering us some good runs, too, you know. If it fits, it ships, buddy. Yeah, definitely a unique team here. We got, you know, the Z in the middle, which is like kind of...
A little bit.
Oh, thanks, Scott. We didn't know what the Japanese... Yeah, the front... Looks like these guys are having no problem stacking it up here in the tight part of the track and then out into the third corner. Let's see it. Looks like they probably have all pretty similar power numbers. Doesn't look like they're having much trouble keeping it pretty tight here, the proximity, and then out in the last corner. Sweet run by these guys. Very, very unique team. Certainly something cool to see. Looks like the Z's going to lay down a heater.
Team Pretend with one of the most stylish lineups there, that U.S. Postal Service JDM spec Subaru, and the Japanese style police car chasing them around. Love that. Shout out to my good buddy Devin Borden, who's normally our drift police at our Drift Mats Erie events. All right, so next we're going to see Stay Tuned. These guys have been ripping all weekend. Believe they drove some of those cars here, if I'm not mistaken. Keeping it nice and stacked up here through the center. Just a little bit of lack of proximity towards the back. Oh, almost some contact from the Z to the G. Down through the hairpin, stacking it up nice into that last outside zone, letting the tire smoke roll. Really nice mirror of line here from everybody, even though that there's that lack of proximity, and avoiding catastrophe at the end. So solid first run for Stay Tuned.
Yeah, it looks like all 5 of those cars have plates on them, Ben, so I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, maybe a couple of them did drive here, which, you know, I've done it, but certainly not something I would do anymore. I'll tell you what. It's that's a bold move to drive your car to a drift event, load all your tires, tools, and everything in the back of the trunk. You know, props to them for doing that. I certainly couldn't do it anymore, man. My whole trailer is filled with spare parts and tools and this and that. You know, God forbid something happens. It's good to have something you can just drag it up in the trailer, take her home.
Stay tuned. Lap number 2. Dennis getting them hyped on the way out. Stay tuned. Enters into turn number 1. A little bit more organized this time than they were on the first run. Surging back up for the proximity down here in the center section. Mirroring that line, very nice, like I said in the first run. So these guys surely have tons of laps together. Getting into the last outer zone here. Laying down the tire smoke yet again out front.
So it looks like that's a 370Z out front, if I'm not mistaken. Can you confirm that for me, Ben?
Yes, sir.
So we got a 370Z, what looks to be a G35, a 350Z, and 2 Beamers. The back one looking to be, I think, a 135. That's like a newer car. I mean, props to these guys for, you know, building these newer cars and bringing them out here. I would be way too sketched out to do something like that. All my cars are early 90s Miatas that are beat to hell, man. Up next, we got Team Power Up. Another team that's been really throwing it down this weekend, so excited to see what kind of run they can lay down for us today.
Mike, Orion, Michael, and Romeo and Joe. Sorry, Joe. Making their first run. The white BMW's been throwing it down all weekend. I think he's been here the longest of anybody on this team, so probably the most comfortable with the layout at the moment. But these guys shaking it up good. See the googly eyes on that Miata, nice little touch. There's a little bit of separation from the front two to the back half of the team, but shaking it up nicely. Right up against the door, are we? Into that last wall drag. So Team Power Up, solid first run. See if they can clean up that first corner and maintain the whole 5-car proximity on their second run here, Brian.
Yeah, so it looks like they're not going to swap up how they're going to run it. It looks like they're going to run it in the same order, being the 3 Beamers in the front, the Miata, and then the S chassis in the rear. So not sure if there's a significant power difference between the cars, which is making that gap larger than normal, or if this time they'll close it up and make it look as if there is no power difference. You know, that's certainly something that we could see here.
Power Up, run number 2. They do swap their orientation of lead driver here. So a little bit different look from Power Up for their second run. Kind of seeing it again here, first 2 cars, and then a little bit of a gap to the back half of the team. But you can see the front 2 maintaining each other and the back 3 maintaining one another. There's a little bit of a lack off the backside. Overall, solid 2 runs, almost looking like mere runs and a little bit of havoc towards the end of the second run. Everybody put your hands together for Team Power Up.
And then we got the Miata laying down a heater for the end of the run. All right, next up we've got Top Dick. So these guys, I forget where they come from. I want to say Carolinas or Virginia. I know they're definitely not from around here, but these guys really know how to throw it down. I know a couple of them street drive their cars here, so super cool to see them out here, and it looks like they're doing a great job. They drive really well together as a team. Another team that has quite a bit of variation between the cars here. We got the 350Z S chassis, another Miata FC, and another Z in the back of the pack there. But as you can see, these guys really know how to boogie. I mean, they hold great proximity, all super consistent drivers. Oh, it looks like a spin out from the black Z there. It's definitely, it is cooling down, so it's probably getting a little slippery out there. Definitely not as consistent, definitely not as sticky as it was earlier in the day.
Yeah, and that Top Dick garage Miata just absolutely shreds, man. I've seen that thing rip past me on grid. I believe it's turbo as well, so good amount of power under the hood of the Miata. Is Top Dick Garage going to look for their second run here. We got cameras coming off of cars. Dennis laying down the words of inspiration for a nasty second run.
I'm hoping at some point tonight, Ben, we could see an all Miata tandem. I mean, we got to have at least 10 of them here, and hopefully we can make that happen tonight.
Top Dick Garage, run number 2. Filed up pretty good here, coming out of the sweeper. Down into the middle tight on that yellow inside tractor tire. Nice wide line. As I had mentioned earlier in the stream, lots of different driving styles, so we're seeing lots of different lines team to team. As you can see how versatile the Speedway is, even with a layout laid out. These guys just stacking it down through the layout. 2 really solid runs for Top Dick Garage, finishing off strong right up to the wall, stacking them up like dimes. Absolutely killer runs for Top Dick Garage.
Looks like a lot of flames coming out of the back of that S chassis. Next up, we've got Killer Beams. Looks like we've got 2 out of the 3 drivers here for I'm sorry, they're only a 2-driver team. Looks like. Oh.
Jordan and Jared from Killer Beams out here on the track into the center section. Good proximity between the two of them. Good looking red BMWs. Sounds like BMW power plants under the hood. Oh, big flick here from the chase driver in some trouble in the lead. Gonna regroup here into the last outside. So good overall run. Didn't really see what happened there for the lead driver of Killer Beams. But things nearly got interesting. Good amount of smoke off of these cars as well. Very well set up BMWs for Killer Beams. See if they can right the wrongs of the first run and put together something a little bit spicier. Doing some camera swapping and getting ready to go for run number 2 for Killer Beams.
Here they go. Starting up real tight, almost a little boop there at the beginning. Good initiation. Looks like the cars are going to close up on each other here. Lots of angle for both of these BMWs. Coming into the tight part of the track here. This is usually where you can close it up when you're driving with your team. It helps because everyone's kind of slowing down, getting this tight technical part of the track, getting it down pat. And as I said, it looks like they close it up pretty good. And then out in corner 3 here, holding a pretty good line for both of them. Let's see how they do it in the last flick of the corner here. Almost loops it, but just barely saves it. Great run by both drivers from Killer Beams here, Jordan and Jared.
Up next, we have Limp Brisket. Now, Taylor Braun in the Fox body. Actually got burst past by the White Mustang last Drift Mat Series event. That was fun. First run for Limp Brisket into turn 1. Big angle out of the White Mustang out front. Taylor Braun in chase there. Trying to tighten it up from the back is the rest of Limp Brisket. Coming together now through the center. A burst pass from T. Braun.
3 Mustangs on this team. I didn't even realize. 2 Fox bodies.
Double burst pass.
Yeah, newer generation Mustang and then a 240. Looks like these guys are real comfortable driving with each other for doing all these passes like that, man. Gotta have a lot of trust in the other driver.
So we've seen a double burst pass, some contact there at the end of the run between the red Fox body and the red S chassis. But we've seen a double pass, we've seen a triple pass, and then we've seen a pass back right there as Taylor Braun passes in the first tight center turn.
Hit him with the Uno reverse card.
Absolutely. I don't know exactly what it is, but I bet most of you have actually been playing Uno wrong your whole life. Google it. You'll find what I'm talking about. I can't remember exactly what the thing is, but just because you brought up the Uno reverse card. Gary getting them hyped up for run number 2. Limp Brisket getting ready to throw it down. T. Braun always leaves everything on the track. Let's see what Lim Brisket puts together here for run number 2.
So like we discussed at the last, another pass right there. Let's see if they do it again. Let's see it. Oh, yeah.
Nice and tight on that burst pass. Same move they pulled in the first one, a little bit cleaner execution in run number 2.
Looks like they're stacking up pretty good here on the last corner. And they will finish out strong. Let's see if they're going to lay down some heaters before they leave the track here. Oh, yeah, they're already starting. Wow.
Started the heaters before the run ended.
Laying down lots of smoke. Man, that S chassis is just letting it eat.
Just chalking it out the back. Up next, we're going to see Drift Nuggets. Really unique Golf with, I believe, a Volkswagen V8 in it, if I'm not mistaken. So a really unique build there. And one of our regulars, Kevin Ferraro, one of our Great Lakes Pro-Am Series drivers, in chase. The Drift Nuggets have been throwing it down all weekend. Expect nothing less here from these two. Big angle from Kevin in the chase. Nice smooth chase. As Brian likes to say, have to have the smooth lead run to get the good clean chase. So that's what we're seeing here. Short wheelbase on that Golf. Kevin pasting it to the door. Sliding back now to about the hatch area. Down to the K-rail. Dragging those bumpers right along, right up to the wall. Absolutely phenomenal first run for the Drift Nuggets.
Interested to see if they'll change BMW in the front here. It looks like it. Looks like Golf's going to chase the BMW now. Looks like they both have very similar power levels, so it does not look like there's going to be any power deficit. And they're both phenomenal drivers, so it's going to be really, really cool to see.
Yeah, it's cool to see that with you know, the manufacturer specific V8 in that Volkswagen, not just, you know, another V8 platform like we see a lot of 5 liters, a lot of LS swaps. So this one real unique here, and very clean build by Mike as well. So Mike and Kevin of the Drift Nuggets throwing it down. They do go to Grid Life, so lots of experience in driving on a lot of different courses for these guys. Absolutely chucking the smoke out of the back of that Beamer is Kevin Ferraro. Mike smooth and chase behind him. These guys, a ton of fun to watch. That's the really unique thing to me is, you know, it's one thing to have great proximity, but it's another thing to be able to just purely mimic your teammates' driving style. And those guys do a phenomenal job as they light them up coming off a track. Let's hear it, everybody. Lake Erie Speedway, the Drift Nuggets.
Alrighty, so now we've got Team Upsor. That's a big old camera on the back of that 240 there. They've been laying down really consistent laps all weekend, so excited to see what they're going to lay down here for us.
Upsor laying it down here on their first run. These guys have gotten a lot of laps in here this weekend, so real familiar with the layout and obviously one another's driving style. Huge flames out of the 180. Looks like we're going to see a change of order here.
It looks like these are actually all right-hand drive cars, so that's super cool to see the whole team with right-hand drive cars out here. I wonder if that makes it a little bit easier.
Yeah, as you mentioned there, kind of the root of their team name, as they have those couple soars on Team Upsoar. So now we'll see the 180 out front. Let's see what Upsoar brings for lap number 2. Soars go door to door, looking to suck up to the door of that 180. Big fireball. Heading into the tight section here, still stacked up, very nice.
Lots of fire coming out of the back of that 180.
Into that last outside zone. Can see them mimicking each other's line, very nice. Last car shallowing up just a little bit to close in on the proximity. And a strong closeout to the run for Team Upsoar. Gold Sword ripping those tires off for you guys. So Team Upsoar gonna wrap up everything for us here in the team exhibition. An absolutely great showing of, phenomenal builds, great skill, all that good stuff, great driving style. You see a lot of different styles out there on track. As I had mentioned earlier in the stream, if you're spectating here at the Speedway, don't go anywhere. The action is far from over, as we will be drifting until 11:30 p.m. tonight. If you make your way over to the pit side, find a driver that's got an open passenger seat, you can hop right in on the action. And also, as I mentioned, don't be afraid to go and talk to some people. If you have any questions about their car or getting into drifting, you might even find yourself finding a vehicle for sale over there in the pit side. So stop by, check it out, see some of your favorite teams and some of your favorite drivers that you've been watching so far this weekend.
And we just want to thank all of you for joining us tonight. So, we're going to get back to the action real soon here. I'm about to go start up my car, get her warmed up, and go hit a couple laps with hopefully both of my teammates that are here.
If you're still with us here on the live stream, we will be streaming some of the grassroots driving action here in just a couple of minutes, about an hour or so, on the Propped Productions YouTube page, where you can get even more awesome drone footage. We'll have crazy trains of cars going around the Speedway here. As the night goes on, it only gets more and more rowdy. You can see a couple cars in a tandem. You might see 10, 15, 20 cars in a tandem. So grid gets really hot. I'll be down there on grid for the 8 p.m. session. So as soon as I hop out of the box, I'll be down there on grid, keeping things hot. So I promise you, if you jump into that live stream, there's going to be nothing but continuous action. Once again, just before we sign off from the team exhibition, want to say thank you to everybody who joined us on the live stream. Thank you to everybody who dropped a comment, gave the stream a share, everybody who came out to the Speedway to see it with their own two eyes this weekend. And a big shout out to all of our sponsors once again for Vibes 2023. Drift HQ coming all the way from Florida to take part in the fun and sponsor the event. Grip Royal, Koru Works, Silver Suspension, Enjoy the Machine, DriftPizza.us, Tilted Industries, Upside Works, Petrol Box, Smile Times Death, in the Steel City Society for throwing the car show behind the grandstands for us here this weekend. There will be RC drifting going on over there in the pit building. Again, as I mentioned, drifting goes until 11:30. Again, thank you for joining us. I'm Ben Bruno, joined in the booth by Brian O'Connor. Have a great night.